Good morning, and welcome to the Cobb County Sheriff's Office first quarterly briefing of 2023. I'm Sergeant Jeremy Blick, and I will be your host this morning. Before we begin, I ask that you please silence all devices and remove your security badges. Please stand for the presentation of colors by the Cobb County Sheriff's Office Honor Guard and remain standing for the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance and opening prayer. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, Pastor Joe Owens of the First Presbyterian Church of Marietta will come to the stage for opening prayer.
Let us pray. Almighty and ever-living God, before whom generations rise and generations pass away, we give you thanks this day for those who have been called to watch over this generation, for men and women called into law enforcement who have been called to stand in that line between order and chaos. They have been called to face hardship, that in this county there might be order, justice, and peace. Some have been called into violent situations. Some have even faced death. We pray that you will bless them all, that you will bless us as we gather here together, that we all might be renewed in faith, renewed in hope, renewed in love. These things we pray in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, the one who died that we might live. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Owens. Everyone, please take your seats. Thank you all for joining us this morning. I'd like to extend a special thank you to the First Presbyterian Church here in historic downtown Marietta for allowing us to use your beautiful venue and providing a live stream of the event for those who could not attend. At this time, I would like to recognize all elected and appointed officials in attendance. Would you please stand? I would also like to recognize our law enforcement partners in attendance. If you are representing another law enforcement agency, would you please stand? Thank you all for attending today. You will notice on the screen there's a QR code. If you would like to see a program of today's event, please take out your phone and open your camera app to scan the QR code. Click the link to view today's agenda. Today, you will hear from Sheriff Craig Owens, commanders of our 4 divisions, and the Sheriff's Foundation. We will end today's event with a question and answer session and a special presentation honoring 2 of our deputies. At this time, Sheriff Craig Owens, may you please come to the stage. Thank you.
Well, good morning. Again, I'd like to recognize our elected officials. I see one of my county commissioners back there. Good morning, ma'am. And some newly elected officials from the city of Mapleton here as well. And thank you to CAB for coming today as well. First, let me say, I think I made a mistake today by making this a live stream because I gave people the opportunity to stream and stay at home. They probably stayed at home in their pajamas and decided not to get up on Saturday morning. But again, thank you all for coming out today. I'm so excited to go over our first quarter of this year's briefing view, what we've been doing, with the Sheriff's Office. I'm going to also share some key updates about our organization across our complete platform of services we offer here at Cobb County. So what we've been up to, we've been busy. And I want to start with our community engagement unit first and what we've been doing in community engagement. So community engagement, ladies and gentlemen, is key to our success. We take tremendous effort and time to work within our community, in our business community, in our local schools, in everything we can do to bring Cobb County together as one. So I think that's the core of us being successful as an organization, to give back and to work within our community so the community can really have that trust in your law enforcement agencies that we're going to do the right thing by you and for you all the time. Hopefully you guys just see some new things we're doing in community engagement. We're starting our mounted patrol unit. You probably saw some of the horses out front. There's Duke, Diesel, and Leo outside there. And we have a couple more coming in. That'd be all. We have our mounted patrol unit, but it's going to be a nice size unit who will serve our community very well. They'll be doing things in the schools. They'll be working on our parks and our trails, our bike trails, as well as our walking trails as well. And they will also be doing things down at Truist Park. We've been contacted by some of our local businesses to patrol inside their facilities, the malls and et cetera. And as we get that unit up running fully, we'll begin those procedures. So it's going to be an added benefit that we can give to the citizens of Cobb County to keep them safe as well as a school safety program we're able to implement so our students can know about horses, horse care, safety, and et cetera. And we've been receiving a lot of calls about getting the horses out of schools. And the county, if you didn't know, has so graciously in addition next year, we opened a new equestrian center out in the southwest Cobb County. It's going to be a beautiful facility. And I would encourage y'all, once that facility opens, please go and go out to that facility and look around and see some of the things the county will be offering you there later in the year. Also, in the last 3 months, our community engagement team has participated in over 200 events, which is almost 2 events a week that they're participating in. Sometimes it could be more than that. And right now, they're really concentrating on our business community, trying to ensure that our business community has the things they need to be safe, their business to run smoothly and be profitable. So we're working our business community very hard right now from our community engagement aspects. Normally during our summer months, which we're finna go to now, they are extremely busy with several activities that they threw out the summer, from festivals, jubilees, and things of that nature, that keeps those guys extremely busy. But again, community engagement is what we do here at the Sheriff's Office to have a relationship with our community, as well as our churches. And again, thank you, Pastor, for allowing us in today. We do a lot of work with our churches as well. Let me tell you this. So I've been fighting a cold. That's why y'all hear kind of funny today, and I'm coughing. So bear with me as I get through this. So I'm trying to speak and hopefully sound decent to you today. Infrastructure is the next thing I want to speak about. As you hit that next slide to infrastructure, I'm going into my second half, third year of service. So I broke my service down into several different portions. So last year and a half or 2 years, I want to really focus on our infrastructure for Sheriff's Office. Things that we can do to improve our infrastructure going forward. How can I do a betterment for that, from not only for the deputies that I serve, but the community as well. And we have some of our facilities are kind of dated, but Colonel Gallman, who's the Director of Support Services, will be discussing some more of our infrastructure upgrades coming up. I just want to really highlight a couple of them before he really get in depth with them. So 2 major ones I think we're kind of proud we hopefully to get done this year, at least the construction start will be one, securing the main interest of our jail administration out on County Services Road. If you don't know, the Cobb County Jail sits on between 11.5 and 12 acres, which is a very large complex out there on County Services. Cobb County Jail is the third largest jail in the state of Georgia. So we are a very big organization out there. And the majority of my employees, if you don't know, work at that facility on County Services Road. So we have, we have to enhance that facility for some upgrades and security for my personnel, not only for the personnel, but for the inmates in our facility. If you haven't been in our facility, I think you miss out. We got a very, very nice, clean, modern jail. And that's not only thanks to our employees, but that's thanks to our commissioners for providing us the funds to adequately update our facility as needed and provide new technology upgrades as well, which we'll talk about a little more as well. So, in a lot of these upgrades we were able to accomplish through 2016 and some 2022 SPLOSH monies. Again, with the help of our citizens of Cobb County like you are and our commissioners, that's how we're able to make some of these upgrades in our facilities. So we're doing everything we can to stay modernized in our facilities and not only take care of our employees, but take care, as I like to say, my customers that come to our facility. As we get to go into technology a little bit now, technology is what I think is going to make us one of the best, if not the best sheriff's office in the state of Georgia, if not the nation. So we want to work smarter and not harder, but work through technology. And those technology gains are going to make us very good at what we do. You hear me always say, you know, we're the best sheriff's office in the state. If not, we will be soon. If not that, we'll be the best in the nation. And I truly believe that. I truly believe that because I think that's where we are. And we are definitely on the right track of becoming that. And it's really because of our constituents here in Cobb County, support you all give us, our commissioners who give us support to make sure we're able to provide the correct technology fund to get these things so we can be the best in what we do and protect our citizens and keep everyone that we have in our custody, care, and control safe in our facility as well. So when you came here today, and some technology things I'm not even sure if you pay attention to. So came in, you saw some of the new vehicles we had. When I came in the office, our vehicle fleet was dated. Our commissioners, we was able to redo our fleet. Now we got our new modernized fleet. Not only got a new modernized fleet, probably got one of the best fleets around because now we have drones inside our fleet now. So we probably got the best drone program, I like to say, in the Metro Atlanta area. I do know because they call us for assistance all the time. So I know we're doing very well in our drone capability. And that's to keep our citizens safe and to keep our deputies safe. So now we have capability to pull a drone before we even get there and survey an area before we even send deputies in to make sure it's safe. We'll be the only unit in the Metro Atlanta area to have a drone car, meaning we can deploy a drone from a car while the car is still running. He pull up, he can get a mile from the spot, drone will come from the top of the car, go up in the air, and he can survey that whole area before we even move anybody in the air. That can be used by us, the police, anyone. So we have that capability. And it's a regular patrol car. So that's some of the type of enhancements we're doing on technology on our drone. Again, I'd like to say, well, I think we have the best drone program around. We are the only one that have a D-drone system, which means we can tell where the drone is coming from, what direction, who owns it, if the serial numbers are correctly installed in its system. And we can't use that system yet. We do have the capability of putting it down if we have to. So, and that's because if you don't know, sometimes people get creative and they want to drop packages off at jails for inmates if they're out on the rickyard too, and the package could contain contraband and other things you shouldn't have. So we prepare for that as well. So we're doing a lot of things in that technology to make sure we keep our facilities safe and the citizens in Cobb safe as well. That drone technology we have can be used down at the Braves Stadium as well. So it's just not a one-hit thing. This thing can be used in multiple functions throughout the county. Not only for us, we can use the police, and the city police agencies as well have access to our equipment. So we are very good about that as well. Hopefully you saw some of our horses and they came in. But we do have another thing that you don't see, but you see on everyone on my white shirts, as I like to call them. So we're the only other agency in the state that has gone to a new MOS gun sight system. Prior to us going to this system, the only one who was able to maintain this weapon system were federal agents. By Glock being in our county, and was able to work out a deal with Glock to swap out our weapons. And this is an MOS sighting system, which basically increases our accuracy It saves us money in the long run because now I'm spending less money on the range, a lot more shootings, and we're getting these stunts done quicker. We've done our first class of recruits, and the average score, like 95, is unheard of for people brand new. And most of y'all know in law enforcement, that is unheard of. So it's been able to increase our accuracy and also save us money on the range. We had to go through so many range qualifications to try to get people qualified. And if you don't know, ammo right now is very, very expensive. So we're able to save us some money, but it's that technology that we're always looking for at the Sheriff's Office to improve our stature and to make us one of the best sheriffs in the state of Georgia, if not nation. And last thing about the weapons, people say, why you tell about weapons? For us, it's not only a cost savings and accuracy improving, but for us, a liability thing too as well. I think anything we can do to decrease liability for us as a Sheriff's Office and the county as well is something we have to do as well. You'll find that we'll be the only agency in the state of Georgia right now to be the first to receive the new tasers that's coming out. I think it's the Taser 18 or Taser 10s. We'll be the first to receive that, to have that. You'll see that Cobb County Sheriff's Office will be the first in a lot of new technology things is coming out throughout the nation. And the reason that is because, again, we're searching for ways to work smarter, not harder, and we think we have to do that through technology. We improve the technology grades inside our facility as well. So now when officers going throughout, everyone, deputies, by the way, inside facilities, wear body cams now. A lot of agencies can't do that. We just think it's the right thing to do for our deputies inside the facility and for the inmates in there as well. So now we do have stationary cameras, we have body cameras on each deputy. And these body cameras now are automatically operated or initiated. Once they hit certain thresholds in our facility, they will come on. So that way we have to worry about people missing, not turn them on, things that way. So in certain places of the jail, the cameras will come on automatically. That's a new technology upgrade we included as well. So again, we're trying to work a lot of technology in how we do business here in Cobb County. You also see outside some technology of our new motor unit. And the motor unit, so why does the sheriff have a motor unit? We're using those to increase some of our patrolling functions, but also we do probably 700-800 funerals a year, if not more than that. And that's helping us be able to help work out some of these funeral details that we have in our county. But the motor unit's just not for that. They actually go out, they serve once-off motors, they work just like anyone else in field operations. So it's a multi-use unit that just have a different vehicle or transportation. So it's nothing really new, we just add a different way to them to get there versus in a car. So they still have the same functions that everyone else had, they just ride a motor versus inside car. But it gives us added capability to do different things as well. But you should have hopefully saw some of the new motors that we had in our arsenal that you saw come in here today as well. And we move on into our training, which, by the way, if you didn't know, I believe training is one of the most important aspects that any law enforcement agency can have. I think as we train our deputies and officers, it only makes us that professional organization that we want to become. So last year we spent nearly $200,000 in training, and up from $60,000 a year from that. And that training basically included community engagement training, de-escalation training, how to properly use weapons and equipment, and specifically our leader development training. It is critical that we have properly trained leaders, and we give them baseline for them to be successful so they can lead appropriately and lead our deputies in the right direction. So we launched the Leadership Development Institute at the Sheriff's Office, where we're mandating that our supervisors and mid-level managers and senior-level managers go to school. Mandatory. If you want to be a professional organization, you have to be trained. So they're going to these leadership institutes to receive extensive training in leadership and leadership development. And I think that's going to be our blueprint to continue to make us be a successful organization. So training is a very vocal point of what we do here at the Sheriff's Office. And as they receive these training, they're also able to receive, some of them are able to receive their bachelor's and master's degree as well. So that's another good benefit. So we're getting trained and educated personnel in our workforce. And not that we didn't already have that, we're going to increase their education. So that's what we do. We also implemented a peer support chain in every level of the sheriff's office to help our deputies deal with emotional and mental health wellness to keep us right, because we need help too as well. We're not superhuman beings. We need someone to talk to as well. As many things that our deputies see in the job they do, it's important that we keep not only physically healthy, but mentally healthy as well. So speaking on that, that's the reason why the sheriff's office in the upcoming year be going to a physical fitness requirement. It's not for me to punish, it's for me to also keep our deputies not only physically sound, but mentally sound as well. And it's for our health of our department. And we want to keep our guys healthy mentally and physically as well. And speaking of health, we're going to slide into my quick overview on our mental health portion in jail programs. If you don't know, the jail is my biggest responsibility, as some people say, your biggest liability. And I do understand that having the third largest jail in the state of Georgia, I do understand. So, and majority of my personnel that works for me work in that facility. So we put a lot of time and effort and money into that facility, making sure, A, that it's up to standards, B, that it's clean, B, and C, that we have the best technology we possibly can provide, as well as the best leadership. And so, just speaking on that leadership portion, we recently just named Colonel Mike Williams, Lieutenant Colonel Mike Williams just promoted the Colonel as a new jail commander. And you'll hear from him later today regarding some of the new things we're doing in the jail as well. And we're addressing very hard in our facility our mental health issues. And let me speak just very quickly, and please hear me and hear me well on this. Cobb County Jail, and no jail for that matter, is a mental health facility. That is not what no jail was intended to be. However, unfortunately, due to so many of our mental health institutions throughout the state of Georgia closing, it has become as if the jails across the state of Georgia are becoming that mental health institution. And that's not what we are, and it's not what we do. Over 85% of our population have a mental health issue, and we have to deal with that. And that's not what we should be doing, but we've been entrusted to do that. So therefore, we have to make different plans in our operation to try to address that issue. So Cobb is one of the only few agencies in the state of Georgia that have a 24-hour mental health care program inside a facility. That we have people that 24 hours to hopefully give these individuals the care they need to get through crisis when it arrives, and make sure we're trying to give them what they need. So that's something we're doing that not any other agencies are doing, can do. And because again, our commissioners have gave us the insight to do that, gave us some of the funding to do that, because it's just the right thing to do. But again, I just want to make sure you understand we're not a mental health care institution, but we're doing the best thing we can by our citizens of Cobb County to take care of them. So you hear me tell people any time of day of the week, anybody come across that guard line, they become in my custody care control, meaning as they go across, they're my responsibility. We have people coming in today with heart issues, cancers, all type of medical issues, and they walk in jail and we have no idea what's wrong with them, nothing. And what we find out when they get there, we spend thousands of dollars on health care. One patient, hypothetically, we spend $3,000 a day on pills, $4,000 on treatments outside facility a day, replacing every one of their teeth in their mouth sometime. All that didn't work. Those are costs that the county is incurring, because once they come across that guard line again, they're my custody care control, and I have to give them the care they need to be successful and survive in that facility. And we're going to do that, and I think we're doing a pretty good job at it as well. So those are things that we do in that facility for our clients that come through there, and we're working very hard to take care of them. But we're steadily investing in our facility to continue to upgrade. We do everything we possibly can to prevent any jail deaths. And I do understand that happens sometime, but we do everything that we can possibly do to prevent those. Again, we made new upgrades in the facility. We're one of the first to start a new arm wristband program, which means we're putting these bands on our inmates that comes in that can check their heart rate, looking at adding, we're going to add so they can be their oxygen level as well, and their temperature, things of that nature. Some other agencies are now doing and started to do now, but we were the first start. I like to say, one of my old jail commanders today, Colonel Atkins, and he led us in that program of getting that started, being one of the first in the state to have that system. We're being contacted by sheriff's offices and other municipalities across the United States on that program. How is Cobb County doing this? How did y'all pull this off? How much it costs? What to do? And so, again, I like to say we are a leader in that technology aspect of what we're trying to do to keep the inmates in Cobb County safe. That comes under my custody, care, and control. You know, and I just want to touch on this again. I know I'm repetitive in this, but I think it's very important that you understand that the Cobb County Jail is not a mental health care institution. That's not what we do. But some people think that's all we do, but it's not. And I just want to make sure you understand that mental health care is a tough thing to deal with. And we have some people in our community that needs help. And we want to get them the best help they can when they come to our facility. But we're just not equipped to give them everything they need because we're not a hospital. And so we try to do everything we can. You know, the challenges that we have that's facing our society today, from drug abuse to affordable health care and things of that nature, it plays a role in our community in Cobb County. But again, we're trying to do everything we can to take care of our citizens. And I tell everybody, I do a lot of speaking at different places, and I teach at different places. And it's about, I always tell them this is what we do in Cobb County. And they say, well, why are you putting Cobb on a pedestal? I said, because I think we need to be. Because I think we do some great things here in Cobb County. And I think we have some of the best citizens in the world here in Cobb County as well. So that's how good and how much I care and love my county that I work for, and that I respect my constituents here as well. So just to wrap up, because I don't want to take away from these colonels who just can't wait to get up and speak, because they want to tell you about their visions, what they've done. I just want to say, in general, I want to say that I think we have one of the best sheriff's offices in the state, if not nation. And if we're not there, we will be there very soon. We have a very hardworking staff that dedicated to the people of Cobb County. We're dedicated to keeping anyone safe that comes to our facility. We're not afraid to make changes when we see changes are made. We don't run away from tough challenges. We are transparent in what we do. And you have an agency where your leaders will always be out front. We're not standing behind anyone. Whether it's me or one of my colonels or my chief deputy, we will be out front. And that's the way we should. We should lead from the front and not from behind. And that's what we do at this agency. My leaders will lead. If they won't, then they won't be there. And that's our oath that they gave to me, that they would lead by example. And I think they're doing that. So with that being said, I'd like to say thank you all for coming out this morning, all our elected officials, our other law enforcement partners, and I see Chief Hamlin is ready. Thank you for coming. And I just thank y'all for coming, and so you can have our understanding of what your sheriff's office is doing. Again, I do say what your sheriff's office is doing. It's not mine, it's yours. We work for you, and we're trying to do the best thing to do to make you as proud as you can be of what we do for you. So again, thank you for coming, and I'm gonna turn it back over to our MC, and we're gonna get into and share some of these division commanders, tell you some great things he's doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Owens. Up next, you will hear from commanders of our 4 divisions. Up first is newly promoted Colonel Michael Williams and Lieutenant Colonel Becky Westenberger of the Adult Detention Center.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Colonel Williams. I'm the Detention Division Commander, and I'm proud to be on this stage with you. Before I go any further, I must thank 406 individuals that work under Colonel Westenberger and my command. Without those 406 people, none of this we do would be possible. And I'm just blessed to be able to thank them all for helping us out. Colonel Westenberger has a wealth of knowledge and experience here at the Cobb County Sheriff's Office, and she is a vital part of our day-to-day operations. The detention center is a huge facility. It's 11 acres under roof. Today we're going to talk about everything from inmate programs, mental health facility upgrades, to audits and accreditations in our facility. If I could turn your attention to the screen, I want to discuss the detention center. It has experienced growth in the past year. Since April of 2022, staffing at the facility, we used to have 59 on shift. We have upped that staffing up to 63. The average detainee population in April of 2022 was 1928. It has increased to 1992. And since April of 2022, we've had implemented 8 new inmate programs. Now, before I go any further, thanks to the men and women of the Cobb County Sheriff's Office, I would like to acknowledge any of our partners that are in the building today with Cobb Works, Adult Education. If you could please stand, ma'am, because without you and your people, if you could give her a hand. Thank you so much for coming. These programs are extremely important. I've been with the Sheriff's Office for a long time, but over the last 2 years, what I've seen when inmates come out for this or that, this program or that program, what they have when they leave is something that I've rarely seen over these 30 years, and that's hope. We're teaching them things such as parenting. We're giving them opportunities to go back to school to obtain their GEDs. We've got an anger management course for them. All of these things give the inmates something to look forward to when they leave the facility, which is something that they never had before. They look for places to live. We've got programs in place to assist with that. Oftentimes they leave homeless. All different types of situations, but we, as an agency, thanks to Sheriff Funds, have implemented, and our partners has implemented many different programs to assist them in being able to move out and have a goal, have something to reach out for instead of going back to the corners or simply not knowing what they're going to do. I am extremely proud of that. I'll cover the first program. Is going to be our parenting program. The parenting program is a 13-week program which inmates can sign up in groups or settings. The inmates share experiences, learn together, hold each other accountable. Since August of 2022, we've had 70 male inmates and 26 female inmates sign up for the program. I'm proud to announce that we've graduated 13 females, 13 males, and have 15 males scheduled to graduate in May of this year. Can I please get you all to stop and recognize all of them and give them a hand for what they're doing for the numbers, although we have a lot of people that sign up, the numbers, unfortunately, we're not able to accept everyone into the program, but those that are accepted, some may leave for one reason or another. They may post bail, may have to go to another agency to satisfy charges there. But just the mere fact of the numbers of the individuals that are signing up, it shows that they have what I spoke of, is hope, to try to do something better than what they did before. And that's more than I can ever expect from them. Our facility upgrades will be covered by Lieutenant Colonel Westenberg.
Good morning. Real quick, prior to that, I want to talk real quick about mental health. On January the 31st, 2023, we began the RISE program. RISE stands for Restoring Individuals Safely and Effectively. WellPath Recovery Solutions, in collaboration with the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities and the Cobb County Sheriff's Office, has a 20-bed jail-based competency program at the Cobb County Adult Detention Facility. We are the first detention facility in the state of Georgia to begin this program. Currently, we have 18 individuals admitted to the program, with 7 being from Cobb County. Individuals admitted to this program are inmates that would not require a hospital level of care, and at minimum are screened for aggressive, violent behaviors and suicidal thoughts. The likelihood of being restored for competency is within 60 to 90 days. Since the start of the program, we have had 2 inmates restored, with 1 having been released from custody. Going back to our facility upgrades, as the sheriff said, we are the 3rd largest in the state of Georgia. Our large facility has undergone several improvements and upgrades recently. You can imagine running a facility of this size requiring constant maintenance and upgrades to remain secure. We recently completed roof renovations on a section of our facility that was constructed in 1997. The roof spans over 125,000 square feet, and it took 5 months to complete, costing $3,143,000. We are in the process of upgrading the locking mechanisms in our facility on cell doors. These new locks were changed from minimum security to maximum security, providing that extra security for the inmates. In addition, the new locks have a light indicator and is for visual inspections, and also is tamper-proof. To date, we have upgraded 3 pods, totaling 576 locks. When the tower section of the Adult Detention Center was built in 2010, little was done to separate our civilian staff from the inmates. This put them at risk of possible violent encounters without any means to defend themselves. We recently added the partition screens to most critical areas of our facility to include intake, release, and in addition, the visitation center. Our final renovation is currently underway at the Adult Detention Center in the administrative building. These improvements will speed up our ability to assist attorney visits, visiting their clients, assisting the public, in addition to facilitating the release of the inmates. Lastly, our audits and accreditations. In March 2023, we completed 23 PREA audit. PREA stands for Prison Rape Elimination Act. This particular audit validates that the Sheriff's Office has 0 tolerance when it comes to any form of sexual abuse, sexual assault, sexual misconduct, or sexual harassment of persons while they are in custody. PREA also validates that all allegations are immediately and thoroughly investigated. I am happy to report to you today that as of April 17, 2023, we were notified that we successfully passed all expected expectations and standards. I believe this deserves a round of applause. I will now turn it back over to Colonel Williams for the conclusion.
Thank you. There was slated to be a special guest that came today. I just thought about just omitting it because unfortunately he was unable to make it because he had to work today. But I'm going to go ahead and cover it. We don't need to go back through the slides, but I want to recognize the first inmate after the re-implementation of the GD program of Mr. Vanderlei. What's his name? Where is that? I cannot see this. Mr. Vanderlei Serrano was our first inmate to successfully complete the GED testing program. Another exciting portion of that program is Cobb County Jail is doing everything possible to become its own testing site. So we will not only train these individuals that are interested in obtaining a GED, we will become an official testing site for GED. Any inmates that are interested and want to study, we will provide them with the books, ability to study, and we will soon become a official testing facility. Cobb Works, another one of our partners, as well as Chattahoochee Tech, were instrumental in bringing out a program that's called Construction Ready. And what that does is it teaches the inmates to work with wood, things of that nature, construction work, and they also have a welding program where they bring out it's a tractor trailer, and it's inside of the tractor trailer there's actually a welding unit so the inmates are able to learn to weld, learn a trade. And I think that's beautiful because once again what that does is give them something to look forward to when they do leave our facility or whatever facility they may go to in the future. It gives them something that we all strive for, and that's hope. I'm going to turn it over at this point to our Field Operations Commander, Colonel Ryan May.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Colonel Ryan Mailing. I'm the Division Commander for Uniform Field Operations. This morning, what I'd like to do is I'm going to introduce some of the leaders that we have within our division. We'll go over some of the specific tasks that we are tasked with throughout the day, but I would like to start with my Assistant Division Commander, which is Lieutenant Colonel Michael Williams. If you please stand and be recognized. Lieutenant Colonel Williams is responsible for the day-to-day tasks that we have to do in uniform operations, and he assists me daily to make sure that we get those accomplished. Secondly, I would like to introduce Major Rick Peacher. He is our commander in court security, which is a highly liable place that we have within the Sheriff's Office, and we will go over that further. Captain Pageant, if you'll please stand. Captain Kara Pageant. She is our evening shift operations commander, and she is also responsible for the warrant room and the civil process office. Captain Mosby, Captain Anthony Mosby, is not here with us today. He is our day shift operations commander. He is also the commander of the SWAT team and our FAST team, which is the Fugitive Apprehension Support Team, which I'll get to in later slides. So as I mentioned a little bit earlier, we span a pretty large part of the agency. Operations is responsible for court security, uniform operations, Fugitive Apprehension Support Team, SWAT, K-9, and our motors unit. Again, that's myself without the mustache. Yeah. Okay, so the court complex is located in downtown Marietta, and there's 7 buildings that we are responsible for. We're responsible for the security and safety of not only the citizens that come to those buildings, but we're responsible for the judges and all of their staff and any other people who are employed within those buildings. Within those 7 buildings, we have 5 checkpoints. Those are at all of the major court entrances and to include the BOC building on Cherokee Street. Throughout those 5 checkpoints within this first quarter, just to give you an idea of the amount of people that come through, we have security scanned approximately 162,000 people through those checkpoints. That is done every day by the men and women who are assigned to court security, and their responsibility is to make sure that you're safe and can conduct your business within the courthouse with no issues. Of those scannings that are done, they found 701 weapons. Of those 701 weapons, 481 of those were knives, 215 were chemical agents such as pepper spray, and they found 5 firearms. The responsibility that they have to secure that courthouse starts with the doors that the citizens come through. It's a very important position. It's not to be taken lightly, as you can see. A lot of times people will forget that they have a firearm in their purse. We verify that that's the case. We verify that they're there for official business and that there's nothing of ill intent. If we continue on course right now, the way we are through the court, we will have scanned probably 535,000 people for the year. So it's very, very busy. To aid us in that safety and security, the sheriff had given us new x-ray machines for all 5 checkpoints. It's updated technology. Our old x-ray machines were very dated. These new x-ray machines are capable of detecting weapons better. They're able to detect explosives, and they're just a better view and a better tool for the deputies to be able to see what's coming in to the court complex. In mid-June, we're scheduled to receive 2 large x-ray machines. One will go in the Superior Court entrance, and one will go into the West Atrium. These are very similar to what you may see if you travel and you go to Hartsfield Airport. They're 360-degree scanners. They're capable of detecting narcotics, bombs, weapons, anything that you can imagine. It's so advanced that when it does detect something that should not be there, it actually pushes it off into a side compartment that secludes it away from the perpetrator, if you will, and allows it to be recovered by the deputies. So it's going to be a huge improvement for the overall security, not only our staff, but anyone who's conducting business in the court complex. So uniform operations. Everybody, always wonders what's the difference between the sheriff's office and the police department. The sheriff's office has all of the duties and responsibilities that the police department has as well. It's just not our primary focus. We're governed by mandated duties by the state of Georgia. Many of our responsibilities include the service of warrants, civil papers, subpoenas. If any of you have been lucky enough to go to grand jury summons, mental health committals, evictions, funeral escorts, inmate transports, and we also assist other divisions. One of the topics that's coming up a lot with us right now in operations is the service of evictions. During the pandemic, we were greatly restricted by what we do with evictions. We are now under a post-pandemic period where all the courts are now functioning fully. Eviction paperwork is being moved through the magistrate court to the sheriff's office for service. We've had to become very creative in how we can handle this influx of work, not only in evictions, but in civil and warrants as well, which I'll talk to later. What we've done is we've tried to think outside the box, and with the help of Captain Mosby, Captain Padgett, their lieutenants, Lieutenant Colonel Williams, we've created sweeps. And what I mean by a sweep is that we will take eviction paperwork, we will focus on an area that has a high number of evictions, and we will just flood that area for a 1-week period of time. We were able to do that this last March, and we were very successful. We were able to clear several of those evictions that were on the paperwork. So just for example, in January, February, and March of those 3 months of this first quarter, we were able to clear 311 evictions. Now, that might not sound like a lot, but it is, because as the sheriff stated to us the other day, and I completely agree, us that are in uniform, we don't move furniture. We are restricted by the efficiency and the effectiveness of the eviction crews that are on site. If we move slow, our process moves slow. But just know that we are doing everything we can to get these papers fulfilled, to get them served, and get those numbers knocked down. I talked to you earlier about the sweeps. Also, we did a civil sweep during this quarter. It was very successful. We were able to clear 673 civil papers. That's a tremendous amount of civil papers. We usually run an average of 400 to 500 civil papers on the books, and they were able to clear 673 in a period of time. That's also from the assistance of our SWAT team and our FAST team. Now, the issue with using the SWAT team and the FAST team to serve these civil papers is we're making them do it on their training days. So instead of training, they're out there serving civil papers. That's the length that we're willing to go to make sure that these mandated duties that we're required to do by the state get done and get done in a timely fashion. One more sweep, which was the warrant sweep, extremely successful. Deputies attempted 229 warrants. They cleared 182 warrants and they made 22 arrests. They did that in a period of 9 hours. That's a lot of people, that's a lot of work, that's a lot of planning that went into that to make sure that we're doing our part and our responsibility to make sure the citizens of the county are safe. Okay, now you heard me talk about this unit earlier. It's the FAST team, Fugitive Apprehension Support Team. Pay particular attention to this little graph here with the warrant attempts and the high-risk transports. So these guys are a specialized unit. There's 13 deputies assigned to this unit with 3 supervisors, a lieutenant, and Captain Mosby, whom I spoke about earlier. Their primary responsibility is to oversee operations, to assist operation, to assist CIE, to assist the jail in any form or fashion that we need them to do. They're highly trained, they have all of the good equipment, and they're out there getting it done every single day. The warrant attempts that you see, this is from the first quarter, that's one of their primary responsibilities, is not just normal warrants, but high-risk warrants. These are high-risk warrants that have the potential to be violent, for the potential to people to run. Now, these guys are in uniform. They're in a uniform car. It's kind of the same function that Colonel Peralta will talk about later, but these guys aren't plainclothes like the people that he has who serve high-risk warrants. You probably wonder why the graph shows such a high volume for the high-risk transports. We have a lot of people, a lot of inmates in the jail that are high risk. They're combative with staff. They don't want to come to court. So instead of putting them on a transport bus with 50 other people who they could rile up, we'll stick them in FAST unit and we'll have them come up to courthouse on a solo transport, allow them to conduct their trial or whatever they're doing, and then we'll send them back via the FAST unit. These guys you may have seen also in the school zones. A lot of times we get complaints from citizens, especially if there's a school on a larger road. They will work traffic details in those school zones, and they will give tickets to people who are not abiding by the speed limit for the school zone. They are a very useful unit. I know Major Petrie uses them a lot. We supplement for some deputies that were down in court security. So that is an overview of the FAST unit. We also have a K-9 unit here at the Sheriff's Office. We currently have 8 K-9s. 2 of those K-9s are tracking K-9s. So you ask what tracking is. If we have a young child or an elderly adult with dementia, anyone that has walked away, is lost, we will deploy the K-9 to find those individuals and help bring them back home. We also use the K-9s to find bad people too, but we don't take them home, we take them to the jail. We have 2 explosive detective K-9s as well, 2 narcotics detecting K-9s, and 2 patrol K-9s. So the patrol K-9s are new to the K-9 unit, and when we say patrol, they're capable of apprehension of a suspect. They're also capable, some are capable of tracking, and then some are capable of narcotics detection. So they're not just a one-show K-9. They're able to do several different things out of one K-9. So it's a dual-purpose animal. I'm excited to announce that up in Canton right now, we are training a female bloodhound, and this bloodhound will be designed for tracking. But we have also trained her in article search, but more specifically in gun detection, a firearm. So most recently, a couple of weeks ago, we had a pretty high priority trial going on in Superior Court. All of our x-ray machines were in place. Nothing got into the courthouse, but there were a lot of people who were visiting the courtroom that were suspicious and doing activities in the courthouse that were inappropriate. We kind of realized at that time that even though something didn't get into the courthouse, it would be really, really beneficial for the sheriff's office to have a canine that could detect a firearm. Because I asked the question to one of our canine people, hey, do we have a canine that can detect a dog? And the answer, a canine that could detect a gun. And the answer was no. So we decided to add that to the canine. Not only would it be useful for us, it would also be useful for other jurisdictions, especially Cobb School Police, who I believe is the only other agency who has a dog like this. We could supplement with them in the event that we need to do a search in one of the schools. Then down in Florida, we have another canine that's being trained. This is a German Shepherd Malinois mix. It will be another patrol dog, but its secondary function will be narcotics detection, and we may add marijuana detection to that dog as well. We're still trying to figure out if we would like to do that or not. We're just trying to make it as multifunctional as possible so that it'll benefit us and you all as well. Lastly, on the canines, we just had tryouts last week actually for some new canine handlers. It was broadcast to the entire agency, and several of the deputies came and tried out. And we were looking for 2 positions, and we had a couple who did pass and made it through. So they're still in the process, so we look forward to wishing them good luck in the continuance of their journey to try to get on to the canine unit. And lastly, like the sheriff said, you probably saw those good-looking motorcycles sitting out there when you came in. That's our motor unit. It's still up and coming, but we just had 2 deputies that were able to complete motor school this week, and very difficult class. Those of us who think we can ride motorcycles can't ride motorcycles until you go through a class like that. It's a totally different type of style of riding. But congratulations to those 2 deputies who were able to complete their training and be in addition to that up-and-coming unit. Thank you again for listening to everything that our division does and taking the time to allow me to introduce some of my commanders. I will now turn it over to Lieutenant Colonel Peralta. He is the Lieutenant Colonel and the Assistant Division Commander of the Criminal Investigations Division for the Sheriff's Office. Thank you.
Hello, I am Lieutenant Colonel Peralta, Assistant Division Commander for the Criminal Investigations Division. Colonel Eric Yeager is the Division Commander, and he is here with us today. And I'd like to ask Colonel Yeager, please stand. I would also like to recognize CID Major Hillsman and Major Ray, who are in attendance with us today. Today, you're going to learn about some of the following topics, and I'll be discussing each one of those briefly. The Criminal Investigation Division is made up of personnel assigned to crime scene investigation, the MCS Organized Crime Task Force, the Domestic Violence Unit, the Sex Offender Unit, Evidence Custodians, and also the Fraud and Forgery Investigations Unit and the Fugitive Apprehension Unit. This quarter, I'm going to highlight 2 of the 7 units: Fraud, Forgery Investigation, and Fugitive Apprehension. I'm going to talk about some recent activity that I think everybody should be aware of, and we want to provide this as a public safety and a public service announcement. The Fraud Forgery Unit continues to see complex fraud schemes. Just recently, investigators detected a high number of incidents involving SNAP and EBT benefits. Those are Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, Electronic Benefits Transfer. In these cases, the victims were in possession of their benefit cards, and it seems that their accounts had been compromised in some way. These compromises occur in several different forms, therefore it is always important to regularly check your accounts for suspicious activity. The Investigations Division is in communication with state authorities to ensure that investigative efforts are coordinated in these types of cases. Another recent case involved a suspect obtaining financial cards from patrons at local gyms. The stolen financial card information was used to purchase gift cards and make online purchases. In this case, the suspect was identified and arrested. Now, we continue to see telephone scams impersonating law enforcement personnel, and this is something that continues on a daily basis and something that you might even be aware of yourself, having received one of these calls. This scam usually involves the victim being told that they have failed to appear for court or jury duty, or that they may have a warrant. The telephone scammer then advises the victim that they can pay a fine over the phone to avoid arrest or further law enforcement contact. Now, folks, the sheriff's office will not call you about jury duty. We're not going to call you about warrants or speeding tickets. If someone calls you and asks you to pay a fine over the phone, end the call and contact Fraud Unit at 770-499-4752. Now, this telephone number will be displayed again on the last slide of my presentation. Now, moving into the fraud forgery investigations unit. This quarter's statistics are very similar to the statistics that we had in the first quarter of 2022. We received 785 cases in the forgery unit 2022 and 836 in 2023. Now, on the topic of fraud investigations, I'd like everybody to remember that they require significant research and collaboration with financial institutions. Each case can take several weeks to several months to complete, and not all cases will be solved. For example, several months ago, we received a complaint that a person's identity had been used to purchase an automobile here in Marietta. The victim resides in another part of the state, and so the first thing we did was initially coordinate with the victim's local law enforcement agency. Next, we had to obtain all the documentation related to the sale of the car and examine it for clues. The suspect in this case presented the auto dealer with a false driver's license that contained an old address of the victim. They utilized fraudulent documents to show residency, and the telephone that they used were not associated with anyone. Although we had a copy of the photo on the driver's license, it's difficult to identify an individual from one photograph. Each of these investigative steps took time to request and analyze all the documents, and as well, speaking with everybody that was involved. Now, at this point, you may wonder how best to protect yourself from identity theft and fraud. And one of the best ways to do that is to regularly check your financial cards, your bank accounts, or any account that has monetary value. Check it for suspicious activity. In addition, you should regularly check with all of the major credit reporting agencies. We want to ask for your credit history and thoroughly look over it. If you see anything that you didn't do, then you know someone has got access to your account information. All of the major credit reporting agencies allow you to lock and unlock your credit, and that gives you the most control over your credit and the use of credit in any financial account that you may have. Now, moving on to fugitive unit. The fugitive apprehension unit serves felony warrants for all law enforcement agencies in Cobb County. Again, our statistics for 2022 were very similar to the first quarter of this year. We received 254 cases in 2022 and 193 cases in 2023. There were 301 total arrests in 2022 and 275 total arrests in 2023. The total number of arrests reflect the number of arrests that were conducted by law enforcement officers throughout the Cobb County and also throughout the state. The fugitive unit made 45 arrests during the first 3 months of 2022 and 45 arrests during 2023. And that number represents the number of individuals the fugitive unit went out and physically laid hands on, conducting the work they needed to conduct to locate those individuals and bring them to custody. Now, moving on to some of the modernization aspects of the CID, the sheriff previously spoke about the drone unit. And to add a little bit upon that, the drone unit is fully operational and utilizes the safest and most efficient aircraft. And if you're here in the building with us today, I'll invite you to take a look at the drones that are out in the foyer area. The drone unit has deployed its aircraft to assist in the search of missing children and during high-profile events. We have over 30 deployments in the first 3 months of 2023. Each drone pilot goes through rigorous training, and each one is licensed to fly through the Federal Aviation Administration. Great care is taken to ensure that all drone flights are compliant with FAA rules and regulations concerning altitude limits and also airspace restrictions. Now, CID continues to obtain and employ technology that benefits all Cobb County citizens. CID recently partnered with Chorus Intelligence to obtain the Chorus Intelligence Suite. Now, I'm happy to also say that we are the first law enforcement agency in the state of Georgia to deploy the Chorus Intelligence Suite. This powerful analysis tool will allow CID to increase collaboration with federal, state, and local partners. In addition, Chorus serves as a case management tool and a link analysis tool that allows investigators to perform federated searches across multiple open source data sources. For example, if I was involved in a criminal activity, An online search may produce information that investigators can use to develop leads and corroborate case facts. Many internet websites contain photos, addresses, and information about each of us that we voluntarily put out there. This information can be collated and examined, and when necessary, compared to data that is already held by law enforcement agencies. In the event that a court proceeding is required, that information can be exported for court purposes. Now, Sheriff Owens created and published a strategic plan for 2021 to 2024. One of the primary goals of the sheriff is to reduce, solve, and prevent crime and enhance overall public safety. And the deployment of the Chorus Intelligence Suite is in line with the 2021 to 2024 strategic plan. The entire strategic plan is available on the Cobb County Sheriff's Office website for you to look at. On behalf of the investigators and all personnel assigned to the Criminal Investigations Division, I would like to thank you for this opportunity to provide this briefing today. I will be followed by Colonel Gallman of Support Services. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. Well, folks, I'm coming to the end of the show. I'm the last colonel briefing this morning. Hello, I am Colonel David Gorman, Divisional Commander of Support Services for the Cobb County Sheriff's Office. Lieutenant Colonel Dwayne Morris is the Assistant Division Commander who helps oversee the division. Colonel Morris, please stand. Be recognized. And I believe I have one more staff member here. Shauna Adams, please stand up. She's the manager for Human Resources for Support Service. Thank you, John. Today I'll be telling you about the sections that make up the Support Services Division. Also, I'll give you an update on the personnel reports and an update on equipment and facility upgrades. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about bonding administration also. Support Services is comprised of accounting, purchasing, auditing, the bonding administration, fingerprinting, human resource, open records, and the supply property units. Civilians make up the most of my staff for support services. Okay, let's go to some numbers, thank you. In the first quarter of 2023, we had 40 new hires. In 2022, there were 63 separations in the first quarter, and in 2023, there were 30 separations in the first quarter. This indicates that retention rate has increased, which means people are staying. With the implementation of upgrades to facilities and equipment, we're making a better environment for our employees to want to stay here and become one of the best service agencies in the state, if we're not already there, or in the country like the sheriff has stated earlier. We currently have 44 vacancies. In comparison with other agencies in the Atlanta metro area, that's the lowest vacancy rate. Again, this shows that people want to join our agency. The word is getting out that the Cobb County Sheriff's Office is not the same Sheriff's Office as before. Okay, this is the agency demographics. As you can see, we have 47% white, 1.3% other, 0.5% Asian, 46.2% black, and 5% Hispanics. This shows that the Cobb County Sheriff's Office is very diverse. In fact, our command staff is one of the most diverse command staffs in the Atlanta metro area. We have 22% women, and what does this mean is that the Cobb County Sheriff's Office is diverse to address the issues of the diversity in Cobb County, where we can better service people, because when you look like the people, you have a better understanding of the people, and we provide better police services, law enforcement services. Now I'd like to talk about leveraging technology in upgrading our equipment in facilities. During this first quarter, we completed a facility upgrade on our Advanced Operations Center. This project involved the installation of advanced closed-circuit TV surveillance cameras and a robust smart card-based access, which means this made the facility safer and more secure for our employees. Also, during this quarter, we are making upgrades to our weaponry system. We have added the aim port acro optics. Like the sheriff said, our qualification scores have increased in average scores of 95 to 96%. This is cost savings to officers qualifying and using up ammo. Also, what we're doing in the sheriff's office is infrastructure improvement. Again, this is something the sheriff mentioned earlier. We are renovating our Cobb County Sheriff's Office downtown area of the building, which should start in the summer. Folks, this building is the only county building that has never been renovated. And I'm sad to say that if you come and visit us, you might be going back in time to the 60s or the 70s. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about the bonding administration. We currently have 12 bonding companies serving the Cobb County community. My bonding administrator, Deputy Marcus Warren, regulates these bonding companies by making sure they're in compliance of the policies, laws that govern the operations of bonding companies in the state. Again, I thank you for your patience. My previous colonel have said a lot of things that are happening in the Sheriff's Office. Through the leadership of Sheriff Craig Owens, we're doing great things in the Cobb County Sheriff's Office. We're using technology, spending a lot of money in training, and giving our folks the tools and the facilities and the training to do their job better, be better stewards of your money, and making sure that the Cobb County Sheriff's Office is on top. We are going to be, if we're already not, the best sheriff's office in the state of Georgia and in the country. Sorry about that. So thank you for your time and patience, and have a good day.
Thank you, everyone, for your presentations. In the best interest of time, we're going to make sure that we move ahead in the program, but I do want to take a moment and recognize the Executive Director of the Cobb Sheriff's Foundation, Robert Haley. Will you please stand up? The Cobb Sheriff's Foundation has done amazing work, and I would encourage anybody who wants to learn more about them to visit their website, cobbsheriffsfoundation.org. At this time, we're going to move into the questions and answers portion. If you are watching online, you can email your questions to media@cobbsheriff.org. I ask that Sheriff Craig Owens and the division commanders join me on stage for questions and answers from the audience. Anyone in the audience who may have a question about today's briefing, please raise your hand and we'll field your questions.
All right, I see no hands. That means no questions. That's it for me. But no, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll try to answer them myself, or I'll get one of these division commanders or assistant commanders to be able to answer the questions for you. Yes, sir. Good. How are you? I haven't seen I don't have data to really confirm if we can really shift at this time. What I can tell you what we're trying to do to encourage that shift to happen, and that's why I call out my community engagement. I think by us working in the schools, which we're doing a lot right now with our middle school is what I target, because we know that's where we can have kids go left or right real quick in middle school. Excuse me. So I have my community engagement deputies targeting those schools with programs that we can get to. You know, we're trying to have mentorship programs for them young men. We work with some local civic groups or some civic organizations from Omega Psi Phi to Delta Sigma Theta, AKAs as well, so other civic groups to get into these schools and work with these young men and women to provide them some guidance to keep them hopefully from going, off par. So I think that's what we're trying to do to enhance that and to get those numbers going in a positive direction. So I truly believe that by us taking care of our children is the way for the future for us. And we also, for us at the Sheriff's Office, we provide internships for kids for summer of age, of course, college internships. And we're trying to build those relationships, those working. And also trying to build my bench so I can get more qualified employees who want to come this great profession of ours, what we call law enforcement. So we're doing things of that nature as well. But I think by us targeting our youth at this young age, sponsoring back-to-school programs, sponsoring events at the schools, participating in career days, and doing what we can to give back. Now we have deputy at the safety village. Now they see a deputy now at the safety village, and they interact with us at younger ages from preschool, or kindergarten to 5th or 6th grade. So we're trying to hit all those avenues early to try to get those kids on the right direction. Great question. Yes, sir.
The presentation this morning is absolutely intellectually incredible, knowledgeable, helpful. Going back to just being line of Ray, you're saying past, narrative, present, what you're living, future, what you're living. How will you be able to use the funding to be able to do what needs to be done, because it needs to be done?
That's a good question. I don't know if the commissioner's still here or not, but she might have left. Yeah, so I can say this, honestly, I've been very fortunate to have some commissioners that's willing to work with me and get some of the projects that I've brought forward to come to fruition. I think, just from my perspective, I can't speak to them. I think we have a good relationship with our commissioners. They listen to my needs and concerns, and they try to do the best they can to give us what we need. And I think they do understand that sometimes to become the best, you got to spend money to become the best. And we can't always be cheap as what we do to better attain greatness. And sometimes, they do understand that. That's from us getting different equipment, new technology, infrastructure changes, recruiting, retention. So they do understand that, and they're being pretty good up to this point, and I see that I'm hoping they'll continue to do that as well. But I think on that same note, I have to give these men and women here that work for me a lot of credit, because, who's your best recruiter? They are. They're getting in the community. They're telling people now they have pride in where they work at. They want to tell people I work at the sheriff's office. And you see see the things we're doing here. And so I give credit to my deputy and my staff members for doing that. And we do, while we have one of the lowest vacancy rates in the metro, because we work hard at it. We're probably the only one now that's going to start a in-house retention program. What does that mean? We're going to put effort into retaining people versus just always hiring. We can hire people and they leave the next week. It's not doing any good. I need to retain the good people we have. So we're going to have a retention program. You can tell me who else have a retention program? Nobody. So we're going to do those things to try to retain our people. And then that way they go out and tell people, you want to come work here too. So great question. I think we're doing a lot of great things with our commissioners. I hate to be repetitive about them because I want them to know that we are appreciative of what they do for us. Y'all know, if you don't know Sheriff, I am kind of vocal. And I email them and talk to them, but they're very pleasant conversation with them, and it goes very well. When I'm vocal, it's really about taking care of our men and women that I represent and the constituents I represent as well. I tell everybody all the time, I work for you. They say, who your boss? I say, you are. So give me the tools so I can be a good boss for you. And that part of my constituents, like you and everyone else, telling commissioners, hey, y'all get the sheriff what he needs. Because we know what he needs and he's going to do the right thing with it. Great question, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
have a GED or a high school diploma, they will be able to receive that while they're in prison. That's so important, critical for an individual being able to gain employment. And as the Colonel said, once you get out, you don't have hope when you have to go back to. So these programs are really critical to pursue the citizen. And I appreciate your leadership, your team's leadership in moving these programs forward and ensuring safety and citizen amongst our community. So thank you, sir.
Thank you. Again, I just want to thank everyone for coming out this morning. I told you in the beginning, and I made this very short because, my communication staff is giving me the hook signal, so I just want to make sure I abide by them. But I just want to say, again, thank you for elected officials, fellow law enforcement partners, chief, and everyone come out today, and the community leaders and activists here that's here this morning. I think it's critically important that you understand what we've done and how. And that's the reason I said I got elected. I wanted to have these quarterly briefings. And in my heart and mind, if I got one person here, that's all I need. I'm going to do exactly what I told you when I got elected. We're going to have these things. We're going to be transparent. And you're going to know what your sheriff's office is doing. And then I think I hurt my attendance today by live streaming, so I have to reconsider that next time because people staying at home in pajamas watching that, so I do understand that too as well. But again, thank y'all so very much for coming out this morning. And I think Chief Anderson is going to join me up front for a awards presentation. So please do not leave before this, because I think it's very important that y'all hear what this is awarded for and who's receiving it today. Thank you.
Every day, public safety officers risk their lives to protect American citizens and communities. To honor that commitment, the National Sheriff's Association created the Medal of Valor Award, which is awarded to deputies who exhibit exceptional courage, regardless of personal safety, to save or protect human life. Today, the National Sheriff's Association has awarded the Medal of Valor to Deputy Randall Lossing and Deputy Jeremy Hudgens. The award citation reads the following: for an act of outstanding personal bravery intelligently performed in the line of duty at imminent personal hazard of life. It is my honor to call Deputy Jeremy Hudgens and Deputy Randall Lossing to the stage to accept this award. This award has been conferred for their bravery on September 8th, 2022, in which they both went to the aid of fallen deputies while disregarding their own safety under a direct threat of hostile fire. Both award recipients are receiving a medal and a certificate. On behalf of National Sheriff's Association, we are grateful for your actions on September 8th, 2022, and your continued service. Chief Anderson will now provide closing remarks.
Good morning. It is still morning. I want to thank you all for attending our briefing. We appreciate you taking the time out to be here with us today. And for those that are streaming, we thank you for following this program. I'd like to thank my staff over here for a great job done, and our communications director, Ms. Nikki Glanton, for the hard work she's put in to put this program together. Pastor Joe Evans, my friend, thank you very much for letting us have this program here at your beautiful facility. And to you all, thank you, our law enforcement partners here. Thank you for attending. Good to see my old colonel here, now as chief of DeKalb. Chief Hamilton back there, thank you. And our commissioner back there, I can barely see her, behind the chief's head. Thank you, ma'am, for attending. All, thank you very much. We appreciate you being here. Y'all have a good evening. Afternoon.
Again, thank you all for coming. Please join us out in the lobby for light refreshments. And also take a moment and meet the units the sheriff spoke about. We have members from community engagement, the drone unit, the mounted unit, and the motors unit all outside. Thank you for coming. One team, one fight, one community.